I love birds, I love Pokemon, and I love bird Pokemon. So I'm doing a birds only run of Pokemon Fire Red. Because why the heck not? In case you missed it, last week my teeny tiny baby burbs battled so much they both evolved and then took on Misty at the Cerulean City Gym. Be sure to check out the previous 2 episodes if you'd like to see how all of this works and how they fared so far. Today, we're picking up right where we left off and making our way to the dreaded Vermilion City Gym to confront Lieutenant Surge. Let's go! It's been so long since I've played Fire Red, I honestly forgot what's even on Route 5. I know there aren't any birds around though, so I don't bother exploring the grass. Instead, I investigate what this building is. Oh, it's the daycare. Okay. I doubt I'll make use of it, but that's good to know. Of course, when I try to pass through the gate to Saffron City, the guard tells me the road's closed, but he sure would like a drink. So I head through the underground path instead and arrive on Route 6. Again, I know there aren't any burbs I could catch here, so I avoid the grass and take on the trainers instead. Like last week, there are a ton of battles coming, but I'll do my best to keep things as concise as possible, only focusing on the highlights. First up is bug catcher Kygo. We sweep through his team and Air Force 1 grows to level 24. Then Camper Ricky and Picnic Anansi's Pokemon are quite stubborn, but not even the Pikachu is a real problem. Bugcatcher Elijah's Butterfree doesn't go down in one hit, and then, guess what happens? Air Force 1 gets poisoned! So I have to give her an antidote after the battle. She levels up to 25 fighting Picnicker Isabel's Pidgey. Last on the route is Camper Jeff, but the battle is nothing to write home about. So I make it to Vermilion City. And now would be a good time to explain my predicament. Also, shout out to my friend Alida, who doesn't know much about Pokemon, but loves burbs and is super nice to me. Here's the thing, both Air Force 1 and Wingman are normal and flying type. While normal is neutral to electric type Pokemon, flying is 2 times weak to it. This means that not only will Lieutenant Surge's Pokemon hit twice as hard with their electric attacks, but my burbs will only do half damage with their flying moves. It's pretty much the same situation with Brock in Pewter City, but it's worse for a few reasons. First, electric is only weak to ground. Neither of my burbs have damaging ground moves, nor can they learn any. Whittling Lieutenant Surge's Pokemon down is also going to be a problem because his Pokemon can paralyze mine, so they might not be able to attack as frequently. Also, his Pokemon are lightning fast, pun intended, so chances are they'll hit me before I even get a chance to hit them. My Pokemon are not very sturdy either, so they likely won't be able to withstand or avoid his strong electric attacks. My best option, of course, would be to find Pokemon that aren't weak to electricity, but since I'm doing a birds-only playthrough, that's not really possible. The only early route birds are Pidgey and Spearow, which is why the Flying Squad only has 2 members so far. Psyduck is around, but I can't access it yet because you need a Super Rod or Surf to acquire it, and I don't have and can't get either. Even so, it wouldn't help because Psyduck and Golduck are water type, which is also 2 times weak to electricity. The only other birds I can think to use against Lieutenant Surge are Porygon, a pure normal type, and Magmar, a pure fire type, but they're both out of reach. So, I'm screwed. This leaves me with no other option than to once again brute force it, either by massively overleveling Air Force 1 and Wingman, or by catching a horde of other Pidgey and Spearow and leveling them up and hoping that 6 of them will be enough. But who has time for that? But none of this is an issue right now. The Vermilion City Gym is roadblocked, and first I need to find Kat so that I can enter it. So, as per usual, I explore the town and chat to the locals. This guy at the Pokemon Center says his Pokemon got poisoned. Little does he know how hard I relate. I also acquire the Versa Seeker, or the VS Seeker, which I might use in a fix, but I'll forget about that for now. And then I meet another burb. I also acquire the Bike Voucher, and then I get the Old Rod, which unfortunately isn't powerful enough to get me a Psyduck. Then This little girl offers to trade me a Farfetch'd for a Spearow. Farfetch'd is a gimmick Pokémon who was never meant to be viable in battle. It's also normal flying, so won't help me much with Surge. But a burb is a burb, and my goal is to catch all of them in Kanto. So I head into the grass to find another Spearow.
One eternity later.
Once Spearow finally shows up, I don't want to risk knocking it out, so I hit it with a couple of leers and then chuck a ball at it. It breaks out, then breaks out again, but the third time's the charm. I accidentally run into a trainer on the way back to Vermilion, but the battle is nothing special, although Wingman does grow to level 25 by the end of it. So I return to the little girl, whose name is Elissa, by the way, and I trade the Spearow I just caught. By the way, when I said no trades was a rule in episode 1, I meant no external trades, because if I could simply bring mons in from other games, there wouldn't be any challenge here. The in-game trades don't count. Anyway, bye Spearow. I'd like you all to give a warm welcome to the Flying Squad's third member, Chiding, the Farfetch'd! Even if I could change its name, I don't think I would, because Chiding is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, and I love it so much. I've been laughing about it all day. The Pokédex tells me Farfetch'd always walks about with a plant stalk clamped in its beak. The stalk is used for building its nest. The only thing left to do now is acquire Cat, and to do that, I have to board the SS Anne. It is handy though. Chiding is only level 13 and I need to train him up a bit. But not too much, since I only have 2 badges. If he goes beyond level 30, he'll start misbehaving. Aboard the ship, a new string of battles begins. First up is Gentleman Thomas. Chiding is severely underleveled and his attacks are quite weak, so I figure switch training is my best bet. Still, I give him another chance against Gentleman Arthur's Nidoran, and Chiding is formally inducted into the Flying Squad by being poisoned. Then I forget about Poison Point again, and Air Force 1 is poisoned too, but it's no matter. After healing, Chiding takes on Lass Anne's Pidgey and gets boosted experience, leveling up to 14. Then, while battling youngster Tyler, I forget about Poison Point again, and Wingman gets poisoned. I also find the TM for Brick Break. Next, I explore the kitchen and find a Great Ball, Chesto Berry, Cherry Berry, and Pecha Berry. And then I head around the corner to fight more trainers. Chiding levels up to 15 fighting Sailor Philip, and then while fighting Fisherman Barney, I am not even kidding, ignores Confusion 3 times in a row. He also takes down the Tentacool all by himself and levels up to 16 after switching out. Then he learns Fury Attack. Then Chiding levels up to 17 fighting Sailor Yui, and I find the TM for Rest. Sailor Dylan says he likes feisty kids like me. So like, you don't say it that way. And Chiding levels up to 18. Air Force 1 takes over and also levels up to 26, and I find an Ether. Next is Sailor Duncan, who helps Chiding grow to level 19. He also one-shots a Tentacool. By the way, Farfetch'd holds a stick in Fire Red. It's an item only it can use and it boosts its critical hit ratio. I quite like it, I must say. Sailor Leonard is next, and his shoulder puts up a fight, but Chiding can handle it. Also, again, Chiding decides confusion doesn't even matter and isn't impeded by it at all. He also grows to level 20. Can I just say this is giving me a new respect for Farfetch'd as a Pokemon? I was once indifferent to it. I thought it was cute and silly, but useless. I realized Chiding likely won't scale to the rest of the game and will become increasingly difficult to justify using, but for the time being, Chiding is ridiculously fun to use with all the crits and trade boosts and disregard for status conditions. Anyway, I find a super potion and a hyper potion, and then I head upstairs. There I fight Fisherman Dale, where Chiding levels up to 21 and learns Knockoff, replacing Leer. I figured Farfetch'd is a little bit too squishy a Pokemon to justify non-damaging moves, and besides, Leer is Wingman's thing. Then we fight Gentleman Brooks. His Pikachu paralyzes Air Force 1, but it's not a disaster. I also find a Stardust. Chiding one-shots Last Dawn's Rattata and levels up to 22, then becomes paralyzed by her Pikachu, but again just disregards it and hits it anyway. Chiding, you have no right to be this good. You're a Farfetch'd. Haibo. Anyway, I give him a Paralyze heal, and then for the first time he falls to the red fighting another Gentleman's Ponyta, but I heal him up and he levels up to 23. I also find an X attack. Next up is a rival battle with H5N1. Chiding holds up well against his Pidgeotto and almost one-shots his Raticate, then grows to level 24. Wingman easily takes down his Kadabra with Pursuit, and Air Force 1 deals with Ivysaur with no trouble. After that, I visit the captain, who is seasick. I rub his back so he'll feel better, and in exchange he gives me what I came here for. HM01. Cut. So I head to the ship's bow and fight Sailor Edmund and Sailor Trevor, where Chiding one-shots a Machop and levels to 25. With that, there's nothing left to do on the SS Anne, so I disembark. At this point, I think I'm at least ready to take on Lieutenant Surge's gym trainers to find out what I'm up against, so I heal and head to the Vermilion City gym. Chiding is the only burb capable of learning Cut, so he becomes the first HM user of the team. I replace Fury Attack with it. Inside the gym, Sailor Dwayne is first. Air Force 1 has almost no trouble with his Pikachu and grows to level 27, and also learns Wing Attack, which I replace Tackle with. Next is Engineer Bailey, whose Magnemite takes down Air Force 1 and paralyzes Chiding, but again, Chiding doesn't even care. I heal and then fight Gentleman Tucker. Wingman struggles, but it's not a crisis, and then I attempt the gym puzzle. I just want to add here, I see a lot of people complain about Lieutenant Surge's gym puzzle. If you're unaware, you have to disable the electric barrier that separates you from Surge. You do this by searching the bins until you find a switch. Once you do, you have to find a second switch that's in one of the bins adjacent to the first. But you have to get the second one on your first try, otherwise the puzzle resets. I'm pretty sure it's considered one of the most infuriating parts of Pokemon, but it's never given me that much stress. Even here, I solved it in 2 tries. But now, it's time to take on Lieutenant Surge. At this point, I'm convinced it's going to be the most arduous battle run because of the mechanics I explained earlier. But, as with Brock, I figure training against Surge will help me along the way, and if nothing else, it's better than grinding against wild Pokemon. I bring in Wingman first. I get his Voltorb to the red, but he almost immediately heals. Wingman's pursuits aren't strong enough to take it down, so he falls to a Shockwave. Chiding takes the Voltorb down with Cut, and then Air Force 1 one-shots his Pikachu with Quick Attack. But then Raichu paralyzes her and pretty much sweeps through the team with Shockwaves. So yeah, not a great first attempt, but what did we expect? Also, what can I do except keep at it? So after healing, I try again. I'm not sure why I thought the same thing would work, but this time Voltorb was a nightmare against Wingman and Chiding, although Chiding got a crit that knocked it out and also leveled up to 26. Like the first time, Air Force 1 one-shots his Pikachu, but is immediately paralyzed by Raichu and taken down to the red. I have to heal her and manage to get Raichu to yellow, but a nasty Shockwave takes Air Force down again. I bring in Chiding, but Raichu far outspeeds him and shockwaves him to death before he can even get to hit him. So I heal Wingman, but his pursuit misses, and Raichu takes him down too. Not a great second attempt either. Now do you see why I was so concerned about Lieutenant Surge? His Pokémon are too fast and too strong against mine. But we persist. I stock up on some more super potions and head back for round 3. This time I changed the strat, bringing Chiding in first. He's slower than Voltorb, but he one-shots him on a crit. Air Force 1 also one-shots Pikachu again. I quick attack Raichu while aware of the paralysis, but since my only other moves are flying or non-offensive, quick attack is my best bet. It's a bit of a mistake though. Raichu shockwaves, then outspeeds, so Air Force 1 goes down without landing a second hit. Then Raichu's shockwave does away with Chiding effortlessly, Wingman is paralyzed but lands some pursuits, but with missing a turn to heal and being outsped, falls to shockwave just the same. So I heal again and attempt it for the 4th time. This time, Chiding doesn't get the crit and is hit with a shockwave which brings him into the yellow, but he takes Voltorb down in 2. As expected, Air Force 1 one-shots Pikachu again and levels up to 28, and then crits against Raichu, bringing it into the red. But it doesn't matter, Lieutenant Surge heals it immediately. But then some good fortune comes my way. Air Force 1 lands another quick attack and evades paralysis. A shock attack does significant damage, but it's not enough, opening the doors to land one last quick attack and finally take Raichu down. Did I have to overlevel? Sure. Was luck involved yet again? Absolutely. But still, I beat the Vermilion City Gym with only 3 normal flying type burbs, one of whom is a Farfetch'd. Yay! So, Lieutenant Surge gives me the Thunder Badge, 2,400 Poké Dollars, and TM34 Shockwave. I can now also use Fly outside of battle. I obviously still need to acquire it, and to be honest, I don't even know where the heck you'd find Fly in this game, but since this is a birds-only playthrough, this is the most exciting HM of them all. With that, I heal my Mons, and I leave it there. For now. I really thought that Surge was going to be way more of a nightmare, but as with Brock, I'd say 4 attempts isn't that many, all things considered. I'm just glad it's over. The next leg shouldn't be tricky at all. Erica is up next, and she's the first big match where I'll actually have the type advantage, being a grass gym and all. But we also have to acquire Porygon at the game corner. And oh lord, that's not going to be fun. Hey you, thanks for watching my silly little video, I do appreciate it. Recently I had a chat with a friend about video game addiction and video games in general. He's the sort of person who tries his best to be as in tune with everything as possible. So although he enjoys the odd game here and there, he largely sees video games as a distraction from reality. My stance is, so what? Firstly, this reality kind of sucks and wanting to escape from it is warranted. Secondly, I don't see the difference between gaming and other more sophisticated hobbies like reading, physical sports, or the arts. As a matter of fact, video games, in moderation of course, are actually good for you too. They hone your critical reasoning and fine motor skills and can be extremely good for your emotional, psychological, and neurological health. But I guess there's still a stigma that they're a waste of time because at the end of the day, the accomplishment and satisfaction you get from them isn't tangible. Sort of like how no one will judge you if you read non-fiction or the classics because they're considered intellectual and therefore useful. But those same people will mock you if you read trashy YA romance novels because they have no perceived worth, even though reading itself is the intellectual exercise and the content you're reading has very little bearing on that. I guess I just think it's a silly and sad way to see the world, that pleasure can only be derived from productivity. But I don't know, I just felt like yapping about that. What do you think? On that note, if you enjoy wasting time for the fun of it and you're invested in these silly burbs, consider liking this video, dropping a comment, or better yet, subscribing. It will go a long way and mean a whole lot to me if you did. But now, if you'll excuse me, I have to figure out the most efficient way to get a Porygon from the game corner. I also have to go and give Chiding forehead kisses because who'd have thought a Farfetch'd would be that kick-ass. Anyway, have a good one, guys. See you next Sunday.